Hello and good morning, our beautiful mystery seekers. Welcome back to Mystery Sisters. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Crystal.
How are we doing
How's
today,
it go?
Crystal? Oh,
Uh,
great minds think alike. I see.
well, I am happy to announce that I have not worked 7 days straight. Finally got a day off.
What, didn't you like work like 11, 12
Well,
days
tw
straight?
12, yeah.
Could it be me?
And then I've done nothing but sleep.
Hey, there's this thing called the word NO. You know what that says?
I don't know what you're saying.
It's just two letters. Okay. N-O.
Yes, those are letters.
They spell no.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh my God.
Ha, get it? I don't know what you mean.
Oh my God. So when you need a break, okay, especially for your mental health mind, you say no.
Okay, but I have a question. What's a
Hmm.
break?
Oh my oh my God. How are we gonna get through today's session if this is how you're gonna be right now?
Well, because that's easy. I could talk about that. I don't understand these words that you're making up though. Like you keep making up stuff.
No, no, no. It's not a made up word. See, look, I just said it. I said it twice. I went, no, no, no. Actually, three times. Sorry. The whole no, no,
I don't know
no.
what you mean.
When you tell someone no, it's like no, 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 no.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my God. It's so sad because me and you are just alike when it comes to that because I can never say no, but I have never got asked once to stay at work, especially when it's busy and they have no help. And I'm like, I'm waiting for them to answer. I'm like, ask me, I'm waiting for them to ask me. And maybe I could say no for once, but I'll say yes. But I never got an ask once.
Teach me your ways.
It's called attitude to my boss.
Well, that's not fair. I give her attitude every day.
Yeah, you guys are like best friends though. Mine is more of a um he hates me, I hate work. It's a feeling mutual situation.
I tried telling her that I quit and she just laughed at me.
I say that every day to my boss and to my bosses, and you know what they go? They go, ha, you're funny. I tried going
Uh,
home before lunch. Okay, I literally just came back from break and I was about to go do something. Okay, go do what I do at work, and they were like, um, I was telling my team lead, and I was like, I am going home, and they're like, oh, are you going to break? And I'm like, no, 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 I'm going home. It's a little joke I do always at work. I always talk about how I want to go home, how I want to quit, like all this stuff. So I was literally like saying, I want to go home. I'm going home right now. And they're like, oh, so you're gonna go home for break? You live that close? Like you can literally just go home for break, like you're right across the street? That's lucky for you. And I was like, no, 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 no. I'm gonna clock out and go home. And she was like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm not, but I really want to go home. I really need you to give me that pass, but you won't.
Every time she tells me I'm fired, I go, yes, finally. And then she goes, no, I mean like you're grounded here at the store. I'm like, oh, well, that's not fun.
Oh, that's your own issue. That's your own fault.
Need to learn how to not do my job, but that's not gonna happen. Just kidding. So,
So,
mental health check. How has your week gone?
um, besides work, it actually has been fantastic.
So, I'm on my second week now of those anxiety meds, and I definitely noticed that if I don't take it at certain points, that starts to get really bad. So, it's kind of a huge reminder that I need to take it. But it is working, I think, in a lot of ways, or
Like
starting to.
in a good way or a bad way.
No good,
That's
I
good.
think.
I just I just started retaking my antidepressant meds because I suck at remembering to take them. So my mood swings are all over the place right now. So if I seem low or seem high, that's why. But also,
We are not that kind of channel.
oh, yeah, duh. See, like sometimes I have to like pre-hype myself before we even start because homegirl don't want to do anything. I literally get here and I'm like, I don't want to do anything. Like ask Crystal. She knows because all obviously we tell you guys every single time that our video calls are so long, even before we already start doing this, because one, I have to hype myself up. I have to wake myself up to get this started.
I got off of zombies for this, so
Oh, boo-hoo. Not like you're gonna get back on.
I left my team.
Your team will be fine.
I don't think he will. I don't know.
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be perfectly okay. Also, have you noticed that I sound a little better though? I still sound a little bleh, congested. See? Tongue twisters. I still sound a little congested, but because last week I was sick when we started this series for part two of what we're going to be talking about, that um I hope I sound a little better for you guys. Yeah.
I don't because I'm still convinced that she got me sick through the phone.
Oh my God.
I have been so miserable, like you don't even know.
Hey, remember, there's this word. It's called no. N-O. Your body's mentally tired. Your mind's mentally tired because you just worked 10 days straight, 12 days
12.
straight. I fixed it. Okay. I fixed it. So remember, just say no
I don't know what you are saying. Stop making up words.
when you don't want to do something. You say no.
Not gonna happen, but okay.
Oh my God. I'm just saying it's a really well relationship with your boss because
Hey,
when I start playing saying no, I do end up sometimes doing it, but sometimes I don't do it. And they realize that. And they
but but the money has been nice. Like, I'm not actually stressed out this week, which is awesome. So,
gotta make that
I
money,
mean,
money, money.
I'm
We
gonna
don't need your
miss
money,
it
money,
because
money.
my next check's not gonna be like that because I did not take extra hours, but it was nice.
It's not about the money, money, money.
It is all about the money. Like in this economy, this day and age,
Oh my
like, yeah.
God. The housing market needs to crash already. Thank you very much. That'll be fantastic because some people needs houses, quote unquote. This person needs a house. Uh,
Yeah, so do I.
true, true. You know what? We'll build a house together in Texas, right next to Jared and Jensen.
Hey,
Hey, we're your neighbor, guys.
how you doing?
We're like, can you let me know when your next convention is so I can go because you got sold out. I'm literally trying to plan a trip to go in August, but then their one in August, their home state, all sold out. Okay. And I want to do it in August so I can save up for that one, and it ended up being sold out. So then I have to see if I can try to save enough to try and go in July. But that means I have 2 to 3 months to save on top of other financial debt issues that I don't think I'm gonna be able to go. And who knows when their next convention will ever be. They're not doing one here in Arizona. They're not gonna come here. Sad. The sad, sad life for a nerd who just wants to meet her idols.
Sky Daddy's coming back in May.
You know what?
I'm so excited.
So, speaking of which, obviously you guys are not just here to hear us ramble on, or maybe you guys are. Maybe we'll have one session where we just or random, where we just ramble about random things. So, who knows? But obviously we're gonna start off with this disclaimer before we jump right into it from where we last left off to what we are going to be talking about in part two of this video. Disclaimer, there is going to be obviously actually more gruesome detail about these cases. There's going to be SA, bondage, like, you know, more of that gruesome details of what he did to his victims. So, just a trigger warning. So where did we leave? Dying over here. Congested. Sorry. So where did we last leave off, Crystal?
So we left off talking about Catherine and Kevin Bright, where Kevin, escaped after he was shot in the head, and then, I gave you crap about like you wouldn't fight for your life,
Um,
try to save me too,
you know
avenge
what?
me.
You know what? In this day and age, didn't seem like it worked out, so why would I try now?
I'm offended. All right, so that was in April of 74. So then his next case didn't happen until March 17th, 1977, where he attacked 25-year-old Shirley Ruth Relford. She was found unalived in her home. He followed her by following her 5-year-old son home, because I guess uh, she had not been feeling good and sent her son out to go get some soup. He ended up entering their residence, pulled out, his whole MO at this point where he seduced them with a gun, just trying to scare them. He tied up her 3 children and locked them in the bathroom, which is interesting because the Otero family, he attacked the kids,
Probably
right?
realized that. Yeah, yeah, he did. In my opinion, I think that's like probably wasn't his style. Like he still planned on like, you know, leaving no witnesses, but I don't think that he was
Yeah,
planning
but
on.
so with these ones, he tied them and locked them in the bathroom, so obviously that they couldn't, do anything. But he only focused on Shirley, and he ended up, tying her up. He restrained her while she was throwing up. He tied her legs to the bedpost. Then he ended up strangling her with the rope and then placed the plastic bag over her head. while her kids were screaming and banging from the bathroom. So kind of very similar to the Otero families. He ended up he was planning on, I guess, unaliving the children too, but they ultimately were able to escape, which it there's no real indication on how they did, but I guess they ended up escaping, so he didn't do anything with them.
So
But
that
then
was
again,
like,
that was like a 3-year hiatus, so maybe he was just kind of out of practice.
so that was like basically two escapes, like two people, like, well, total of four victims that escaped, witnesses, and he still didn't get caught.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just says tying her 3 children. I don't even know how old they were besides her 5-year-old son.
True.
So I mean, and plus Kevin was shot in the head. So that's that's a lot of damage. I think I even remember reading an interview or article, something like that, that about he ended up suffering from amnesia. Like he had a lot of issues and disabilities after that.
And weird. Yeah. I mean, like he maybe had been out of practice, but I don't think really children was his main target. I think that's why he was like so focused on Shirley.
Yeah, well, he did say that he intended on getting the children too, but that did not happen.
Lucky for them. So glad that did not happen for them. So, because Dennis planned out his victims, his next victim was 25-year-old Nancy Jo Fox on December 8th, 1977. So, the same year that he, um, after Shirley, he, so the way he planned it was that he cut Nancy's phone lines of her home and he entered um and waited for her in her kitchen. And for him, he said that Nancy was the perfect hit. Like it was the like she was the perfect plan for for him because she cooperated, she didn't fight him, like he had complete control over her. And which like shocks me in a way because honestly, I don't know if I would be like that person that would trust to be let go or just try to fight my way out. Would you?
Um, well, as somebody who has been SA, I've done both. I just kind of It kind of just depends on the situation, I guess. I mean, the time I didn't fight, I kind of just wanted it to be over. And then the time that I did, I fought for, you know, the kids and whatnot. I thought I had something to fight for. So I don't know. Kind of just depends.
True. True. Yeah, he said that it was one of the more enjoyable kills for him because he he dominated over her. Um and the following day Dennis called the police from a phone booth telling them they would find like where they would find Nancy's body in her home. So he definitely played with a lot of emotions, or he has been playing with a lot of emotions at the time because obviously they didn't even know like who like the BTK killer was, to be honest.
Yeah, they didn't really have any real ideas or know that all of these were connected really at that point.
right? Because he didn't really
Like
keep the
he
same
also,
MO, right? He didn't,
I mean, he did to a point, but they were just kind of also so sporadic and spread out, especially in time frames that, I mean, and none of these people had anything connected really. And back then they didn't have the kind of database and whatnot to be able to keep track of that.
true, true.
I mean, he also even bragged about the fact that he told Nancy that he was responsible for the Otero members. Like he she, there's no saying that if she even knew that who they were, if she had even paid attention, or if she's like, oh crap, I'm about to, my life is over now because of this BTK. Like he didn't say anything about that. He just said that he did brag to her about it.
Yeah, I think that these two were his in his mind was like obviously we don't like it, but in his mind it was his like top two favorite hits to him because like he always bragged about the Otero family and then like he explained in his interrogation when it came to him talking about Nancy that it was like it was his top favorite hit also. So he definitely did not have things thoughtfully planned out. I think so because he definitely did not like keep up to like what an actual like maybe like the known to serial killers would do because he didn't like keep in the same like age range or whatever.
So by right after Nancy's killing, which was in the December of 77, so by early 78, he was really annoyed by the fact that they had not been giving him really credit for everything he had been doing. So he ended up contacting the television station in Wichita, claiming the responsibility for the Oteros, Bright, uh, all of them, Nancy, Shirley, whatnot. And then he started giving them suggestions for his name. He said, like BTK. He really, really wanted to be known as that because he was his go-to was the whole bondage thing and kind of, I guess, torturing them, even though he never really goes into detail on that besides the whole fear factor, I guess.
In his mind, I guess that is torture. I mean,
And yeah. He demanded media attention in his second letter to them, saying, how many do I have to unalive before I get a name in the paper or some national attention? He wanted national attention. And this is again like the late 70s. There's like he was only doing this in one state, so I don't really know why he was expecting national news. Like he wanted the whole country to know who he was. He even enclosed a poem that he wrote, "Oh Death to Nancy," which was a parody of the lyrics to the song "Oh Death." And then in the letter, he claimed to be driven to kill by the Factor X, which I guess was a supernatural element that he got from like Jack the Ripper and the Son of Sam. And yeah, he was like, I want attention. He basically wanted attention like them.
well, isn't these around the
Uh,
time that like all I mean most known famous serial killers are?
yeah,
I think
but
I think that's why but they were also getting more attention than what he was doing.
yes and no. A lot of them also hadn't been caught yet, except for like I said, the Son of Sam he knew about. He had been caught. But around this time, serial killer wasn't really a known term yet. I mean, the FBI didn't even really have profilers yet at this time. So nobody understood what an actual serial killer was. Most people weren't going around doing this. And when they did, they didn't really have a term for it yet. Um, but during that time, he also intended to have killed, I guess, 63-year-old Anna Williams, but she ended up escaping, or he tried to. He wrote a lot of confessions for
Well, so she
stuff.
escaped because she returned home later than expected, which he got very, very mad and irritated by it and impatient that he just ended up leaving her home because he was waiting for her in her home and she never
Yeah,
returned.
because
She never returned.
he did because he stalked his victims. He planned them,
Yeah.
and he did not expect her to not come home. So he ended up leaving. So his next one wasn't until 85, well, May 5th of 85, which was a 53-year-old Marine Hedge. Like he really just did not have a preference on age or anything. He just did not care.
No. What was crazy about that one was that she was found.
Oh, she
Um,
was found in May.
yeah, she was found in May, but he didn't kill her until April 27th.
He ended up taking her body to his church and took pictures of her in various bondage positions. He also had like a lot of his kit stuff at the church, like plastic sheets and trash bags, things like that. It's just creepy to think about.
That's really creepy. It's like going to church on Sunday. Sorry, not to try to joke about it, but it's like it's actually crazy to think about. Like you were literally going to church to pray and to talk to God and everything like that, but then you don't know what's going on in the basement. You don't know that there's stuff down there. And it's
He
like
ended
it's
up
creepy.
he ended up ditching Marine's body in a ditch. Also he stalked two other women in the 1980s to the mid 1990s, but they ended up filing a restraining order against him.
And he still
One of them even
somehow
changed her address.
and see, and that's like it still shocks me how he never got caught or they never suspected him because of stuff like that. Like a whole restraining order.
Well,
Hello?
the times were different back then. Like it's just not as obvious as it would be now. There's a reason why serial killing is not really a known thing right now. Right now, we have, basic crimes, but there's not really the chance of somebody going around doing this to multiple people is probably unheard of because it's just not possible to do now.
I I I know, but it shocks to me that it's they didn't expect like suspect him once when even when all these murders were happening and he was a creep. He was a full-on creep.
It was a creep, but they didn't understand what serial killing was. So,
So
all right.
unfortunately, his next victim was 28-year-old Vicky Lynn. I don't know how to say her last name. I'm so sorry. Redgery? I think it's Redgery. Am I saying it
Yeah,
right? Vicky Lynn Redgery?
probably.
Sorry. It's like a whole tongue twister, tongue tie moment. Okay. Um, just kind of sad because it's like one day after my birthday. Oh my God. On September 16, 1986, um, he, did his infamous strangling with a nylon stocking he found in her home. And it's funny though, because he was able to enter her home by pretending to be a telephone repairman. So like I don't know if she like called beforehand and was like, expecting for her phone to be repaired. But so that's how he entered her home was he played off to be a repairman and he it was it's what shocked me was that he rearranged her clothes post-mortem. Like,
but took pictures of her while she was unclothed.
yeah, but like why would you
But we
like
do
take
know
the
that he liked dressing up.
but like
He
why would
liked
you take the
dressing up,
time
so
to like rearrange her clothes post-mortem?
I don't know.
This
He
is
was a
what
weirdo.
this is what our podcast is about. Supposed to
I don't have any psychological information enough to understand that. And I don't even think he really did either. Like he just kept saying he was just he just couldn't help it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he was also so twisted enough. Like he never did anything with men, but he liked cross-dressing as his victims to relive it. Like I don't know. His final known victim, though, was 62-year-old Dolores Earlene D. Davis. She was found on February 1st, 1991, on the street in Park City, Kansas. He ended up unaliving her on January 19th with her own pantyhose as well. He is suspected of a few others during some of his off times, but nothing to really, not enough to tie him to it. Especially because when he does get caught, he does talk about it, like his crimes.
but not like he talked about it, but that's obviously why they have like these known cases. But the so and this is gonna be controversial because I think he did it. And maybe Crystal agrees with me because we actually never really talked about this. But with this suspected murder was so he did he did. Allegedly the two suspected was one in Oklahoma and one in Missouri. But for sure, the one that I think he did was the one in Oklahoma.
I honestly think he did both of them. I mean, because he was a part of the Boy Scouts in the area that she ended up going missing, and did have the phrase "bad wash day" in his writings to the media, and she was last seen at the laundromat.
Yeah. So
And
in June of 23rd, 1976, that's where they last saw her was a laundromat in the what was it called? Osage laundromat. Osage is how you say it? Osage?
yes, Osage.
Osage laundromat. When it says they saw her leave about 9:30 in the morning and got into like a beige car. And the sheriff there claimed that witnesses say that he's the suspect, but they obviously don't have anything that ties him to it except for his journaling, which the whole
No, the journal was for the one in Missouri. The reason why they suspected him for the Oklahoma one was because the Boy Scouts were in the area. And then it's also because he was working at ADT Alarms at the time, which was installed at the bank across the street from the laundromat that she went missing.
oh yeah.
But if he was involved, he would have had to have been
Retrial.
retrialed in Oklahoma, where the death penalty was legal. So he denied having any involvement, but they believe the reason why he said no is because, I mean, he was already going to get life. He didn't want the death penalty. 22-year-old Shauna in Missouri, she went on December 2nd, 1990 is when she was found, and the autopsy revealed that she was, essayed, strangled, hogtied with six different types of cords. And oh no, she went missing in Kansas, sorry. But she was found in Missouri. Um, and there in his journals, pictures and some other evidence that tied to that same exact crime scene.
So,
Yes, his case went cold.
yeah. I do want to talk about the whole death penalty thing before we move on because for me, I'm against it. Only because I don't believe like taking life for a life. I think that they should rot in prison.
I think it just kind of depends though, because there's just some that it just it makes sense. Like if we were to cover Ted Bundy, like he's a big one, especially because I just rewatched the documentary on Netflix. He kept escaping
True.
more than once. And so there's just sometimes it just makes sense that, keeping them locked up is just not the way to go. It's just it's just not safe. At least to me. Like I also agree that, taking a life for a life doesn't mean anything. Also, I think that the real punishment is making them sit and suffer and think about it. In the end, I think that's the biggest punishment is where they have to sit and think about it for the rest of their life. But if it's just too dangerous to have them alive, then it just doesn't make sense. But does that make sense? Like, why, in some cases, is why I believe that I'm kind of glad that we still have it, is because there's some situations like that.
I mean, I can't speak obviously for other people, but yes and no. Um, because I don't know. I don't believe in the death penalty. I think that's just them taking the easy way out and um they just need to rot in prison or get beat up in prison.
Yeah, but unfortunately, how many times that, like again with Bundy, he escaped and
Okay,
multiple.
with that story, man, the amount of times that he escaped is because they are stupid. They gave him that freedom. They
The
literally
first time, yes, but no, the first time, yes, but the second time he escaped was not because of that. He crawled out like by starving himself and whatnot. He crawled out through the vents and whatnot and left.
he made a hole. They gave him
Yeah,
stuff to be
but
able to
like,
make a hole.
I mean, yes, but I'm saying that he's just one example. I'm pretty sure there's others. I only said that he's the most known right now because I literally just rewatched the one show on Netflix.
I just
So that's why it was on my mind.
I just
And
feel like
because,
they were stupid.
oh, 100% they were. But again, this was a very not bright time in America, apparently.
Well, this is the time that people, well, obviously, this is the time that hitchhikers wasn't as dangerous. Like that's how you would get around. There was not really like people didn't have money for buses or all that stuff or a car. Like hitchhiking was an actual thing back in the day. Like it was a crazy time, man. Crazy time.
You know how I find it funny is that we say hitchhiking is so dangerous now, but Uber and Lyft is a thing.
I don't take those. I refuse to take those. Okay. Okay. We're gonna talk about that. I refuse to take those. I don't even care if I
I
lose my
do.
car.
I have my Uber driver today actually was talking to me and Laura about because we were talking about the podcast today and my freaking Uber driver started making comments. I was like, interesting. I was like, you're gonna get an extra chip just because that was really cool. I did not know about that. He definitely got 5 stars.
See, my question is, who do you think would be more dangerous then? An Uber driver or the passenger? Because you don't know if you know what would be funny though? What if they're both
Actually,
what if they're
what?
both dangerous?
There's gonna be yeah, they both could be. Like I actually think I have some stories that we could cover that's about a driver that, kidnaps their victims. And then I'm probably pretty sure I could find one about a passenger that sat there and hijacked their Uber car. Like, I'm pretty sure I could find it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be surprised, okay? Because the Craigslist killer is also on my list for us to cover. So, I mean, anything is possible.
Man, people just got creative. I can't. I don't understand.
I don't. The internet is just a scary, scary place, which is now I'm also rewatching that on Discovery right now about it's called Web of Lies, and it's all about crimes that happen because of the internet.
Well, that reminds me, I have to tell you something after this that I cannot talk about on the podcast, but something crazy is going on with my phone because you know how it's turned off. Um, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I'll explain it when we're done because I'm scared for my life and other people's life as well.
Well, you have an iPhone, so
Oh my God, that's not the point, Miss Ma'am. The point is I can still use my phone, but my phone internet, like not internet, my phone data is turned off. Like I can't call people. But we'll get into that later because I'm gonna tell you after the podcast. Um, but yeah, that I like that's my opinion on after that funny sidetrack that we love to do. Um death penalty, definitely not my thing. I mean, you make sense, but I still think it's like
yeah, but it's also sometimes like you know, victims' families and whatnot, like that actually go to watch it. It brings them peace. I mean, it's not really up to us to say, but I don't know. I'm not really for it either. Not really my thing, but in some cases, I'm also like, it probably is necessary.
in someone else's right mind, yes, but um not mine. So obviously all this like the case went cold and by the 2000 like the public memories of all these murders that happened began to fade and local author Robert Beatty, is it Beatty? 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 Robert Beatty. I think it's Beatty. I don't know. I might be butchering his last name. Sorry. Began writing a book about the killings after being shocked that so many young people he spoke to had never heard of them. And so, hungry for attention, Dennis reemerged as BTK in the 2004 timeframe after learning that a book was being written about the murders.
Yeah, you started playing a game of cat and mouse with the media.
With the authorities, with the media. Oh my God, man.
Started He was writing threatening poems for the lead investigator who was reopening the cold case. He was sending letters. He was leaving cereal boxes in places. There, at one point, they gathered over 13,000 DNA samples from hundreds of men because they
You said 13,000,
were just
1,300.
trying to
Honey.
1,300. Sorry,
1,300. 1,300, Miss Ma'am.
1,300. I meant 1,300. I'm not here, okay? It's still more than that. It was still a lot.
No, true. It was like obviously.
He the same television station that he had wrote to before where he made them give him a name. He sent in a letter with like his own word puzzles and stuff that spelt out like raw fantasies, like things that would have them know that they were talking to him. He also gave out graphic descriptions and sketches of the Otero crime. He was like all into that.
I think he was all into that, obviously, because that was his first crime,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think that's why he's like hung up on them because he doesn't really rarely talk about much of his other crimes, really.
He did in his journals, but he also had like the pictures and stuff. One of the cereal boxes, or with the not cereal boxes, the Barbie, a Barbie that he had like bound, like tied up and stuff on top of a car. He left with also Nancy Fox's driver's license to prove that he was responsible for that.
So when he left like the license and he was doing like the bounding of the doll in January of 2005, there was a Home Depot incident where he left a cereal box in the back of a pickup truck. Um, Actually, like when I read the article, it said that it didn't explain much like what was in it, but the owner of the pickup truck found it and he ended up throwing the box away. So it wasn't like not a really big deal incident, but then Dennis actually like, you know, wrote out to the media and was like he was like basically like what the hell? Like you weren't supposed to throw away my box. But because of that incident, they like looked back at Home Depot cameras and they saw like they didn't see obviously who it was, but they saw like back like in the footage of like who what the car was, which was he was driving like a black Cherokee Jeep. And but they obviously couldn't like get his license plate or anything, so they didn't know who did that, but it's a very, very weird incident. But yeah, he was like leaving after that in January, he was leaving boxes again in a public place where of like a bound doll that happened. And then after later words, when he was leaving his messages for like the cops and like the media, he basically asked if like a floppy disk was safe.
Yeah, but before that, he was causing a whole lot of attention because here's the part that I don't understand. So in May of that year, May 2004, there was somebody who actually also sent a letter saying BTK story, fake IDs, and a word puzzle. And then in June 9th, they received a package also with a tape stop sign. And there was somebody that was claiming that they were the BTK. Like, why would you? Why?
Attention. People just want attention. They probably think it was a hoax. You know what? In my opinion, when people do that, they probably think that well, there's two of many reasons. One is the attention. Two, it's just be actually it's just mainly one thing is the attention. They think that this person is just like making up a story as they go. Like a lot of people, like when there's a story that always comes out, a lot of people obviously want to put their input in it. Like they want to be like, "Oh my God, I know who did it," or "I saw someone." Like they just want to be involved.
Yeah, because this person was like, "Oh, hey, I did this," and said that they were responsible for, the unaliving of a 19-year-old, which was a boy, by the way, by himself, nobody else, which we know is not BTK's MO, but that was ruled a personal unaliving.
Which story was that?
Jake Allen in Kansas, but it was ruled false and that he had committed,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did read that. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
yeah.
Uh,
But anyways, yeah, you are right. Rader he sent in a letter to the newspaper and asked if used a code name Rex and asked if he was to send in a floppy disk if it could be traced. And the cops
you're like,
obviously
yes,
wrote
we got him.
this
You're
is
like,
two, this is 2005 now, people. You guys remember 2005? Less than 10 years ago? Like
you're
they were
like,
like,
boys, we got
they
him.
wrote back and they said, "No, Rex, everything is fine. All is good." So he sends in the floppy disk with more evidence. That floppy disk obviously gets traced and tracked and goes back to his church and the library where they find the name that is caught. Like they cross-examine
It
names.
it was on it. It was set like when they were doing the investigation on the floppy disk. They didn't know yet until they saw the name modified by Dennis. So when it crossed back to his church, they were looking up obviously who was the staff of the church and everything, and they found that he was the president of the church.
Yes, you are correct. But also, it also traced back to when he used the library. And so that name kept popping up. So Dennis Rader kept popping up. Obviously, that's not enough to go based off of that. So then they got a warrant and then they were able to go and get the DNA from his daughter's pap smear, which, us women, that's like,
Like, excuse us.
that's also fun.
Mm.
So they got that and all that DNA that they had from the previous crimes, it matched.
And then they matched up his that he owned a black Jeep Cherokee,
Yes, that
which
did come up too.
yeah, they really put all these evidence because they were tired. I bet you they were tired. I would be
Yeah.
tired chasing a
Yeah.
ghost.
I still find it funny though that they got his daughter's pap smear and it showed a familiar match with somebody from one of his victims' fingernails. Like that is extreme because to get a warrant, you have to go through like hoops.
they're like I think now, right? Because even then they're probably like, that's not enough evidence. Like you can't just be like, oh, here's a name, blah blah. I think, well, actually, never mind. Now that I think about it, it's because they didn't have anyone, and I think the only name that ever popped up on this floppy disk was one name. So they're probably like, give me one more evidence, and then we'll do it. They're like, we need one more, and then we finally got the guy.
So they finally were able to arrest him when he was driving to his home on February 25th, 2005. And when they stopped him, he's like, "Oh, I have suspicious to why."
He's like,
He's like, "It took you guys long enough.
he's like, I've been running around since 1974. Excuse you.
You guys are a little slow."
He's like, you guys didn't get my puzzles? I left you puzzles. Like, did you?
He is no good as the Zodiac killer. Okay.
I think it's so
Put that
funny
out.
because even then, like, if you're leaving out puzzles, like, did you give them a clue where to start on the puzzle? Like, normally most puzzles be like, here's a hint in the description or
He
something.
probably he probably should have done his research and realized that of the early 2000s, like, yeah, we had pretty good technology that by then. Like,
He's
you
probably
guys
like, nah,
can't
they couldn't get
you
me
guys
back in the
can't
day.
trace that yet. You can't find me, right?
I'm like, nah, nah. You know what? I'll be fine. Floppy disk is not traceable. It's just a disk. Not, there's nothing on it.
Even
So
even me now though, I would not be that risky.
you know what? There's a lot of people that just don't believe in the
Uh,
expansion of
tech
technology.
That's right. That's right. Government's
Even
watching us.
even now, okay? Even now people are like, you know what? Technology evolving? That's crazy. No, it's not. I remember when we used to do this.
And then
Or
there's the
had
people who's
this.
overly paranoid because I have people at my work who won't let me scan their IDs because they think the government is watching them.
I'm done. I'm done. They're like, what do you need my ID for? Why are you scanning it? Are you trying to get my social security number next? What else do you need? Are you working for the government at this station? Excuse you? Oh, love people. Love the future.
They're on to me.
They're on to us. Oh my God. So, of his arrest, he was arrested on February 25th, 2005. Um, he didn't go to court though. Oh no, wait. They did set a bail for him for $10 million. On March 1st, they put a bail of $10 million. They're like, nope, this guy's not getting out.
We got him, guys. They even said that the chief of the police, his one statement was the bottom line, BTK is arrested.
He was like, finally, hallelujah, we did it, everyone.
Kansas is saved, guys.
The terror is over. So he did not go and attend his arraignment on May 3rd. So on his behalf, the judge did put uh put his plea as not guilty. And then on January 7th, is when they scheduled his trial date. He did change his plea to guilty, probably thought he was getting a better sentence or something. Um, but when he changed his plea to guilty and he was describing what he did to those victims and the families, he had no remorse, no apologies, nothing whatsoever. And then on August 18th, when it came to his sentencing, then the families of the victims came and did their statement on Dennis, he every time he heard the families talk, he was crying. Like, but when he described the murders, like he just seemed like he had no remorse, no apologies, no nothing. But then he was hearing all these statements and crying, and then he was just doing like a roughly about a 30-minute monologue of like him rambling and I think probably pulling something out of his ass.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of these cases where they don't think about what they're doing, obviously, when they're doing it. But when you hear it from the other point of view, it it's hard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, he was a family man. He was very involved in his church.
Had a family of his own, a
Yeah,
daughter
like
of his own.
he has kids, he has a wife, and then his wife also even asked for an emergency divorce in the middle of all this because there was no denying that he did it. Even if he didn't take the plea or change his vote, he did it.
Yeah.
I mean, he had souvenirs from his victims. He did it. And that is probably like was an eye opener to him that he lost his family
You think it was an
essentially.
eye opener?
Well, I mean,
I'm
no.
sorry. I mean, like,
I don't think he would have stopped. I don't.
I don't think he would have stopped either.
Especially because he was so fame hungry, especially because like the tormenting the media and like that whole story that that reporter was doing, he was like, "Oh, these people don't know who BTK is. I need to show them."
I don't think he would have stopped either, or at all, because he did plan on a killing in 2004, of October 2004. He was telling, like, during his interrogations, he was telling them that he did have a plan for a next victim in
Yes, and
2004.
that's what I'm saying though is that he stopped for that long period of time though, but because somebody brought it up again. It's kind of like okay, like with us. If we were to discuss a killer right now in one of our areas who hasn't been caught, that is so fame hungry, if they were to hear us talk about it, they would probably be like, oh, nobody knows who I am, so I need to do this again. That's what sparked his interest again, though. I mean, his sickness never really went away, like he said, but he didn't do anything.
Even then, like when they did an evaluation of him though.
And he does have the, you know, sex addiction.
True. But even then, I don't think that maybe yeah, he did realize he was losing his family, but I don't think that
I don't know.
it was
Maybe
an
his
eye
crying was
opener
all,
for him because even then with the evaluation, they found him as a narcissistic compulsive.
and I'm saying he's narcissistic.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean,
and he had no problem recounting what he did because is what gave him pleasure, right? That's what we talked about.
yes.
I
No, it
think
gave him pleasure because he did cross-dress.
well, it's not just that he also looked at the pictures and reenacted them and
Yeah, he would even bound himself and take pictures of himself cross-dressed and bound.
I do think losing his family it might have been a factor of why he cried, but I still think it might have been faked, is my opinion. He did have a relationship with his daughter for a while. His daughter, Carrie Rawson, wrote a book about, the daughter of a serial killer. And she talked about what a loving and caring dad he was. Like he was there, he was involved, but she never let him meet her kids. Like her daughter even asks like, why do I only have one grandpa? And now they're not even speaking as of 2021 because there's people out there who do support him, apparently, and we're bashing her.
Even though she was having a relationship with him, support him for what?
I I don't know. It just says that there's supporters of his that says that, she's wrong for writing the book that she did, talking about what a horrible man he is when they like is I can see her forgiving him from a daughter standpoint in a way. Because if you were to do something bad, like I want you out in the world? No, probably not. But I would also like be in contact with you. Like I would forgive you. I would support you in a way that like I'm here for you. You have somebody on the outside. But if you did what he did, do I want you out in the public? No. But I remember the good person you are. So I would have a relationship with you. I just want to take the kids with you to go visit you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, now that's probably could be our questions for the viewer of this video is would you still try to maintain a relationship with the person you're close to?
I
That's a
mean, because she was born kind of like in the beginning of his murders. And like, that's her dad. She doesn't know who he is or what he did, besides what the public knows that he did.
even then, food for thought. Would you, would you try to maintain a relationship? You know what? Comment down below if you would.
Would you
Uh,
forgive me?
oh man, I don't know. If you went on a killing spree, oh my God. See,
Oh,
that's a
come on.
tough
You know
one.
me. You know me.
That's a tough one though, because like, yeah, I probably would still talk to you because we have a close relationship. I would probably like still
Like,
write you letters.
I would understand if you didn't like have Aaliyah come visit me or anything, but like, would you still send me letters if I was locked up for the rest of my life?
Yeah,
Because
I would.
he's locked up for what, like 10 consecutive life terms,
Yes.
175 years.
Yeah, so during his sentencing, he has 10 consecutive life and 170 of a minimum of 170 years, which is a long time. Basically, he's incarcerated.
Unless he's drinking Dr. Pepper, he ain't getting out. You know about that old lady?
No.
Oh, she made it to like over 100, and they asked her what her secret was, and she said, I drink Dr. Pepper once a day.
Oh my God, does that mean we're gonna live for a long time?
I've already died twice, woman. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we're gonna live for a long time. I mean, like I drink like I don't know 5 cans a day, which is so bad, and I do zero sugar, so
I've already died twice and I'm still alive. So what's that tell you?
we're living past 100. So if you got 175 years, I would just say, you know what? I'll write you letters until you're out, and then I'll have your deathbed ready for you.
Thank you. I'd have yours ready for you too.
Yeah, I would say that I would still write you letters
Your
because
secrets are gonna go with me to my grave, just so you know.
and yours to mine.
Awesome. Yeah, as far as any of my research has shown, Carrie is the only one who was in contact with him. Brian was not. And now, as of 2021, she cut off all contact. So he's one lonely, lonely mother effer.
I could change again. She might still try to keep their
She
relationship.
she might, but when her daughter was born, like she did tell him she had a kid, but she did not let like she didn't show him pictures. She especially because it was a girl. Like you have to think from his crimes. She
Oh
was
yeah.
like, "No." That's a hard no.
She'll be like, I will talk about her, but I'll let you know about her. But no, you're not being around her, even when you're in prison.
Oh, so gross. I hate
Well,
this fool.
I hope you guys enjoyed our two-part series of the BTK killer. It was a very, very interesting, long. Hope you enjoyed this extra long video, but long, long series of this fool, who I think
Ho
is a laughing stock.
Hope you guys know though that if you do want to commit a crime, the police can track you.
Literally, the satellite's tracking you right now and what you're doing. Probably walking outside, walking with your dog, tripping a
Oh,
kid. Who
so
knows?
you just got all of our conspiracy theorists to leave us alone.
You're right. But, even then, they probably would still watch us. So then we can talk more about how the government is sometimes screwing us over
Yeah, we are not teaching you how to not get caught. We're just telling you about stupid people.
and how not to be stupid. Like, be a good person in this god-awful world.
So, on that note, we want you to remind you guys to stay safe.
Stay away from what should they stay away from today? Hmm, everything. But as a matter of today, stay away from going down a dark tunnel. I had a dream about that once. I think that's why.
Make sure your doors are locked and make sure that your security system is up to date
And also make
at
sure you
all
know the person who updates it.
at all times.
That's a key thing too. Make sure you know that person.
We'll see you guys this week.
Yeah, so sorry about that. Obviously we are posting on a Monday night, but we still will keep it as a regular schedule and posting Saturday. So we will see you this upcoming Saturday.
Have fun. Bye.
Bye.